Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Cardboard Dugout. I am your host, Nick, or you may know me on social media as Moon3PO. And welcome to the very first episode of Cardboard Dugout. This is the first time that we are attempting a podcast here, attempting something new. If you guys know me on social media, of course, you guys may know me from YouTube, you guys may know me from TikTok or Instagram, X, whatever the case may be. But I thought, hey, why not? Let's give this podcasting thing a try and let's try it out. So this episode here, again, it's about the title, introduction, is just going to be an intro as far as who I am as a person, what to expect from me as moving forward, as far as my other content and as far as this podcast, and just an overall background, because I feel like people may not know too much about me just because I tend to like to keep things personal, like about my personal life. But you know, people, when you watching content or listening to content, you want to get to know the person behind the microphone, behind the camera. So this is basically what this episode is going to be, so you guys get to know me a little bit more, and hopefully you guys can stay tuned for the ride. So like I mentioned, my real name is Nick, but on social media you guys may know me as Moon3PO. Now Moon3PO, that came from digital collectibles and NFTs. I know people typically hate those words, but that's what I started with my content. If you scroll all the way down to my YouTube, that is what I started making content with. I enjoyed making that content. It was very fun. Met some and interacted with some pretty nice and cool people, very knowledgeable people, and very smart people. But with NFTs and digital collectibles and things like that, it can be a very toxic environment, if I'm being completely honest. And I just did not want to associate myself with that anymore. Like anything you do or say on social media, you are ridiculed and you're being thrown out with tomatoes and being in your approach with pitchforks and fire, and whatever the case may be. So it was just something that I kind of just wanted to get away from it. And I've always been a physical collector. I've always collected trading cards. I've done Funkos. I collect magazines. You see the magazines here. I collect my PSA magazine as well. I collect magazines. I've always collected certain different things, and I've always collected trading cards. Like I think everybody in the hobby, they always say, "Oh, my dad used to take me to Target or those retail stores and buy me what used to be a $10 blaster box from Target or Walmart." And that's my story too. My dad would take me to Target every weekend. When I saw him, we would buy a blaster box, like $10, $15, the little hanger packs that had the gum. 2008 Topps opening day, it still had a little bit of, I actually just made a TikTok of highlighting a card from that, said Josh Beckett, really cool card. But yeah, like that's what I started. I still have all those cards today. Some of them are here, some of them are still on my parents' house. So then that's how I started. And when I got done kind of getting over making the content of Web3, NFTs, digital collectibles, I was like, okay, what can we do? I wanted to stick with collecting. I was like, well, I recently just started getting back into buying cards again, like actual trading cards, sports cards, because I miraculously ended up at not miraculously, I went to what I thought was going to be like a little mini Comic-Con, because I do like comic books, I do like superheroes. So my fiance, my fiance and I, my brother and my sister-in-law, we went to there, and it was actually like a sports like card convention. There was a couple of comic book vendors, but it was mainly sports collectors. So I was like walking through the table, seeing showcases, seeing slabs, seeing everything there, and it kind of just rejuvenated the passion and fun that I had for sports cards, buying packs, talking sports cards. So I was like, okay, so let's just start doing that type of content. That's essentially what I did. So if you go through the YouTube channel, you'll see like a full 360 of different type of content. Even on TikTok too, you'll see like a 360 of different types of content that was coming out, because that's what happened. And I just started making content like of talking sports cars, talking baseball, and it's done pretty well. We're a little bit over 500 subscribers on YouTube. Granted, it's not a lot of people, but that's a lot to me. TikTok, I've been interacting pretty well with people, and some of the videos do fairly well. So I thought, okay, we've done all those avenues. What's the next step? What can I do? And when kind of just going through the web and kind of just seeing what's out there, there are a few YouTube channels that do this, but I don't think there's a podcast that specifically talks baseball and trading cards. Like I mentioned, there are a couple of YouTubers and a couple of channels that do that, and they do a really good job. But with me, like the idea that I had and kind of keeping it with my content is like I talk a lot of numbers. I talk advanced numbers. So I'm talking like sabermetrics, WOBA, WRC plus, ISO, all the OPS is not really an advanced metric, but like OPS plus, things of that nature, pitchers, ERA plus, FIP, expected FIP, spin rate, things like that. Like that's the stuff that I love about baseball, and I like. and I like to implement that with trading cards. I like collecting players that have the highest spin rate or can hit an exit velocity, hit a baseball higher than the higher average exit velocity. That's what I like to do, and so that's kind of like what I wanted to do with this podcast. Is like, let's talk about players who are doing well in the game, and let's talk about their cards. And I do that on YouTube already, but I want to do that with longer form content because I don't think anybody's going to sit through a 30-minute to an hour video of me just talking ball. They may listen to an audio, or maybe you are watching this on YouTube and you want to do that. Like, that's cool. That's fine. That's awesome. So I thought, well, let's just get into the podcasting game. So that's essentially what I'm doing here, and that's what I expect here moving forward. So you guys can expect, if a player goes on a hot streak, how that's affecting their card market. Aaron Judge, at the time of recording yesterday, just hit his 300th career home run in the shortest amount of games. He's the fastest to ever do it. And is he the best right-hand hitter of our generation? That's a convo that we can have. I do plan on having a co-host, or when they can attend, or maybe having a few guests. Like, those are conversations that I can have with people. And I think, honestly, that's what grows the hobby. That's what grows people's interest, is communication, relationships. And that's what I want to do, and and everything of that general. So that's what I plan on doing with this podcast and hope to achieve here moving forward. And I'll keep up with the other content creation, if that's YouTube. Hopefully this video is on YouTube if you're watching it on there, over on TikTok or Instagram, whatever the case may be. So that's essentially what I want to do with the podcast, and hopefully I can achieve it moving forward. And hopefully you guys are here for the ride. If you're listening or watching, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit subscribe button. If you're listening to wherever you get your podcasts from, of course, please feel free to leave a like and a follow and rating down below if you guys are going to enjoy it or do enjoy it overall. And then as far as of just like releases, things like that, as far as of like podcasting, I plan on hopefully doing an episode a week. That is the goal. I am planning a wedding, so a lot of and it's coming up very shortly. So a lot of my time does go to that, or it is going to be going to that. So hopefully an episode a week is what I hope to achieve. And of course, with baseball, we're in the dog days of August right now, but we're going to be approaching the off season here pretty soon. So maybe finding something here you can see here on the site if you guys are able to see it. I have my wrestling belt right there. Maybe talking wrestling too. I just started talking about wrestling cards on my channel too, and I did fairly well. So maybe talk about wrestling, and it's called Cardboard Dugout. We're in the dugout. We're talking cardboard. We're talking shiny cardboard. So that's hopefully what I can achieve here with this podcast, and hopefully you guys are here for the ride, and hopefully you guys do enjoy it. So this episode was just going to be a little bit short. I wasn't going to go deep dive into numbers or talking players here. Hopefully that will be next week's episode. We can kind of sit down. Maybe I can already see a topic will be Aaron Judge, because he just hit his 300 career home run. And I think his card market is I haven't really analyzed his card market. So that's something that'll be fun for me to do on the side and see how it's doing, and have that conversation with you guys, or, if my co-hosts or future co-hosts, I say plural because I do hopefully plan on having a few, maybe some guests here as well on the site. Then that's a conversation that we can have, if it's numbers or just overall the hobby and card collecting in general. So hopefully you guys are excited about it. I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be very fun to listen to produce and to watch. So hopefully this contributes to something. So if you guys are enjoying it, please, again, like, subscribe, watch it on YouTube. Please feel free to follow for more. And I thank you guys for listening, and or if you're watching, thank you for watching.